All you need to know about today's episode is that we will talk about vagina punching. If you don't want to hear about that, don't watch. Welcome back to oddmansports. I'm your host, Brandon Perna. I'm also the host of That's Good Sports here on YouTube. I'm also a complicated fella, which explains why I cry during Pixar movies, but not at funerals. On a serious note, before we dive into today's show, I want to send our best wishes to an athlete who nearly lost his life during competition over the weekend.
Here's the foul here in the swipe. We got all ball.
Scary, scary stuff. But judging from this post-game locker room video, it appears Suns point guard Cam Payne fully recovered from that devastating blow dished by the league MVP.
I just told him
Now, my favorite part of that video is just how over it Frank Kaminsky is.
I just told him
And I believe they call that the Kaminsky method. Huh? Anyone a big Michael Douglas fan? We've got Dinks and Dunks. The Yankees ace, Garrett Cole, found himself in a sticky situation after he was asked point blank if he'd ever used the foreign substance spider tack.
Have you ever used spider tack while pitching?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
And yes, Cole sounded like a man covered in glitter responding to the question, "Were you at the strip club, Cole?" But I personally don't fault Cole's non-answer answer. I mean, if former Bachelor host Chris Harrison said the exact same thing about antebellum parties, he'd still be handing out roses for $5 million a year.
What are your thoughts about Rachel Kirkconnell and the allegations attached to her?
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
King James attended a high school game at Sierra Canyon featuring Bronny Jr. Now, James sat quietly in the last row in an attempt to not take the spotlight away from his eldest son. I'm just kidding. LeBron rolled in with Drake, sat in the front row, and did everything humanly possible to ensure all eyes were on him the entire time. You know, king shit. Video of Cam Newton losing his starting job to Mac Jones emerged from Patriots minicamp this week. Also emerging, the ongoing list of fun nicknames Cam has for his Patriot teammates. Rookie Mac Jones is Mac and Cheese. Coach Belichick is Dollar Dollar Bill. Gold, Cam, just gold. Less imaginative were Cam's actual nicknames for the Patriots special teams players, including Nick Folk, who is Kicker Guy, Jake Bailey, Punter Guy, and Joe Cardona, Long Snapper Guy. Asked what nickname they had for Cam Newton, the special teamers responded, "Fuck this guy. Superman is going to lose his job to Mac and Cheese." That is the most American superhero origin story I've ever heard. Speaking of nicknames, Arizona Cardinals wideout Larry Fitzgerald attended a Phoenix Suns game, leading to this confusing tweet by ESPN. Larry Legend in the house. Realizing that Larry Legend is associated with Boston icon Larry Bird, ESPN quickly deleted the problematic tweet, posting this instead from the Sixers game. TB12 in the house. Nailed it. ESPN. We used to know sports. ESPN reporter Diana Russini appeared on NFL reporter Michael Silver's podcast. and shared this eye-opening anecdote from her past.
Like, you punch a girl's vagina. Like,
Rossini, who played soccer at George Mason, was explaining the dirty tactic some of her opponents would use.
that was a pretty standard thing that the teams from like Santa Clara, North Carolina, even UVA, like with, strong programs. That was like part of what they learned to do.
And while Rossini didn't mention the Notre Dame program, there are reasons to believe the Irish women's team also adopted this below-the-belt tactic. This week, footage was released of Cleveland Browns coach Callie Brownson being pulled over for a DUI.
You're operating a vehicle, and I have concerns about your ability to operate a vehicle safely.
I'm a Cleveland Browns coach.
Claiming to an officer, "Now it may appear that I'm drunk, but I'm actually just a Cleveland Browns coach." Oh, that might have worked pre-Stefanski. But Callie, I'm sorry, that's just not believable anymore. Last week, pro golfer, a friend of the show, Bryson DeChambeau, said the phrase, and I quote, "I've never done this before. This is my first time." Quick multiple choice. Was Bryson referring to A, sex, B, sex, C, opening a pack of golf cards, or D, sex?
Oof. That's cool. I've never done this before, actually. This is my first time.
There's gotta be a nice young lady out there with a thing for 300-pound guys who can drive at 400 yards and have watched like 500 episodes of The Big Bang Theory willing to punch that B card. All kidding aside, who the fuck collects golf cards? Money talks. The NBA playoff chatter has been dominated by superstar talk, but it's been the play of some cagey old vets that have been the difference. Guys who appeared washed on their former teams have made key contributions, including Blake Griffin, PJ Tucker, and Nicholas Batum, who Bill Simmons last season called the worst player in the league. Though to be fair to Batum, Simmons also thinks this is how you pronounce the word scarcity.
To have more scarcity of the product.
These days, Batum's playing crunch time for the Clippers. PJ Tucker, after being plucked from last place Houston, is all of a sudden playing lockdown defense on KD and getting very close to his face. And Blake, whose legs appeared to have given out on him in Detroit, harder than the economy gave out on that city, has seemingly found the fountain of youth, as seen in this recent clip. Run, Blake, run! And while part of me wants to criticize these guys for cashing like $100 million worth of checks while playing like dog shit for their former crap teams, the reality is I can't, because I know if I were in their position, I'd probably do the exact same thing. Going through the motions when you're stuck in a sucky situation is human nature. Just watch any Robert De Niro movie where his co-star is Zac Efron. So with that in mind, I'd like to recite some poetry I wrote. Some slam poetry about my favorite former dunk contest winner. So Tony, give me that beat. Oh, Tony, I don't do this. Maybe I'll try it. Let me do some riffing about my man, Blake Griffin. When you first joined the league, you dunked with such ease, jumping over opponents like you was on a trapeze. But your high-flying act sadly got grounded. That Kia Sorrento, oh, it got impounded. Is that how you do slam poetry? In Motor City, you were put out to pasture. You moved like a statue made from alabaster. Your career would end opposite of Bean. You hadn't had a dunk since 2019. But all of a sudden, you're back from the dead, throwing down dunks on Giannis's head. How have you gone to a baller from a scrub? I want to say heart, but it's probably just drugs. Odd man out! Cancel culture has affected every part of American society, including, not surprisingly, our sports. Long-standing crowd traditions like the tomahawk chop, Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America, and the University of Florida's Gator Bait chant have all been halted due to potentially problematic origins. And while I personally have no interest in wading in this cancel culture debate and risk myself getting canceled, I do have one problematic crowd tradition I'd like the Cancel Culture Committee to consider. Now, is the tradition of singing Sweet Caroline during the 8th inning at Fenway Park racist? Well, I can't say for sure, but anytime I see 37,731 white people doing anything in unison, I get a little nervous. But the real reason we need to cancel Sweet Caroline at Red Sox games is because Neil Diamond is a hit machine who had 3 #1 hits, 13 top 10 hits on the Billboard Top 100. You ever heard of Longfellow's Serenade, Cracklin' Rosie, Song Sung Blue? Of course not, because the only words drunk people can remember are fucking Sweet Caroline. So good, so good, so good. Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum. Good times never seemed so good, so good, so good. Having a period of no fans in stadiums has given us the rare chance to reconsider the stadium stuff that wasn't working, like trough urinals. Now, I'd like to remind you, there is precedent when it comes to canceling this song at sporting events. It seems they used to also sing Sweet Caroline at Penn State football games right up until around 2011, when all of a sudden the lyrics, reaching out, touching me, touching you, weren't so quaint. At Georgia, the university recently announced they'll no longer play something called Tara's Theme, a song from Gone with the Wind. Head coach Kirby Smart explained the decision, saying, "This is an important first step in the right direction to help us evaluate our history and work to bring us closer together." I ask you, does this song seem like it's bringing people closer together? Sorry, Neil. Caroline got canceled. But let me suggest a new Neil Diamond song to play at games. Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon. And I like to imagine that song playing at a women's soccer game where everybody's punching each other in the vagina. All right, that's it for today's show. Tune in next week to see who's canceled next.